send her a recording of it later. There you go. It's recording. Okay, so let's have a look at this first sentence together. So what is wrong with après?
There's no accent.
There's no accent. Wonderful. So it should be an accent grave right there for après. And then here, j'ai habité. What is wrong with j'ai habité? Yeah. So Atara is saying, and maybe you're saying this too, but some of you are still muted, is that the A, we don't need the A and the I. Just j'habite. Après j'habite. So quite a few of you have done this in your writing. And it might not be j'ai habité, but it might be j'ai joué or j'ai mangé. And you don't need the j'ai, just je. Je jouais, je mangeais. So when you have your writing, I want you to check that maybe that's an error that you've done in a few places. And for a lot of you, it's not consistently, but sometimes. What's wrong with the A?
You need an accent.
Yeah, good. You need an accent, so accent grave. And you know that, but maybe for some of you, if you're doing this typed up, you are not paying attention to accents or you don't know how to. So we need to get that fixed. You need to be able to have accents in, otherwise it's not spelled right. Okay, and then the last thing at the end of this is après j'habitais, and actually we don't even need a capital. J'habitais à Fort-Wayne avec ma père, ma mère et ma grand-père.
It needs to be accent.
Okay. Okay, cool. So we've got two answers, one from here and one from Atara. So that's right, there does need to be accents. I don't know why I keep clicking off my little special characters, because it won't move. That's why. Super annoying. Okay. Mère et grand-père. Wonderful. And then Itaro also said that père is masculine, so it's not ma père, it's mon père. And then my grand-père is mon grand-père. Okay, and a lot of you are talking about my mom, my brother, my uncle, whatever. So make sure you've got them matched up. Ma for any of your female relatives and mon for any of your masculine. And then double check all your accents on there too. Okay, so all of these are not just specific to one person. I might have taken their sentence, but it's errors that I'm seeing in general from many students. Second one is j'ai détesté manger tomato, mais j'adore broccoli. It's a nice little sentence, but j'ai détesté is in this whole section right here is not conjugated in the right way. What do we need to do?
The detest manger.
Okay, good. So you're both identifying that deteste is like the main verb that we want. Like I hate it. I used to hate to eat tomatoes. Yes, so we've got it, again, we don't need this j'ai. And then deteste would be AIS, so I hate it, je déteste. And then our second verb also cannot be, you can't have two imperfect tenses conjugated next to each other like that. So I hated to eat, manger. So I want you to also look back on any of your writing where you have je détestais, ou j'adorais, ou j'aimais, I liked, I loved, I hated. Then it should be like conjugated in the imperfect. And then your second verb afterwards is the infinitive. Manger, jouer, parler, whatever. Faire du sport, whatever. So je déteste manger tomato. What is wrong with tomato, class? Or tomato. What is wrong with tomato? Yeah, well, I said it in English. That's English. That's not French spelling. How do we say tomato in French, en français? Ati? Tu ne sais pas? Okay, say tomates. So I would just add an S then and put les tomates. Je déteste manger les tomates. So anything you have, la pizza, les frites, les chips, les tomates, put your les. and then try and get it in French. This one right here, broccoli, is in French. But we've just got a little issue. Here we've got, I hated eating tomatoes, but I love broccoli. Doesn't really make sense. What should j'adore be? J'adorais. Mais j'adorais le brocoli. Voilà. Okay. So just small little things. I still understand what you're saying. I would say the biggest thing right here is to demonstrate that you can talk in different tenses and different times, then détester and adorer should be correct. If you didn't put le in front of broccoli and all of those things, like that's what we're aiming for, but it's still okay. Next one, numéro 3. Nous avons joué le matin pendant le weekend et puis mange le déjeuner ensemble. Really nice sentence. You've got 2 parts to it. You've got puis, transition. We've got le matin pendant le weekend. We've got wonderful. Like, I love it. But we're not demonstrating our imperfect tense. We're not demonstrating the things that we used to do when we were younger. So let's change avant jouer.
Oh, you need to add the AIS on jouer.
Okay, so we need an imperfect ending. Good. So let's put jeu as our stem because we played. But is it AIS with new?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, what is it?
And it's hard because we haven't used it a lot, but it's in your imperfect tense notes. Nope. Yeah, exactly. And this is why I pulled this one up, because a lot of people are trying to use new, and a few people have got it right and some people are nearly right, and so I just want to make sure everybody's right.
So it's IONS.
Merci, Alexis. Oui, nous jouions. So it looks like nous jouons, which is present tense, but it's nous jouions. So go back and check your work. Any place where you're trying to talk about nous, it's nous jouions, or nous mangions, or nous allions, whatever. So nous jouions le matin pendant le weekend. Et puis, and then maybe I would just repeat nous just to make sure that you're continuing. And then we would eat, mangions, le déjeuner ensemble. And that looks wonderful because not only then in your writing you're doing je, you're putting nous in there, and you're doing it the right way. And that's going to affect your sound when you say it too, when you present it. Nous jouions le matin. Oui, Eva?
Oui. Just being annoying.
Okay. All right, so last one, I want to look at this last sentence because I loved what the student was trying to do, was saying a memorable moment, and a lot of other students have been trying to say like a memory that I have, or a good memory or whatever of my childhood, but it's not ever something that we talked about in class, but quite a few people are trying to say it, so I want to make sure that everybody has that opportunity, or maybe you want to include it. So anybody know how to say like a good memory, or the word a memory en français? I don't know whether I've corrected anybody's and given you the answer. Okay, so bon, I think somebody else put un grande, which is fine too. Mais un bon souvenir.
I don't know how to say it.
So the word the French use is souvenir. And that's why I think it's a good word for you to know, because souvenir looks like souvenir, which is something that you have to remember your vacation with. So it's something to remember. And in French, souvenir is a noun, a memory, and it also is a verb to remember. So you can use it in 2 ways. So un bon souvenir est quand, and that's fine to put that in the present tense. So like a good memory is when. Moi et ma famille. So class, what is moi et ma famille? Is that a je or a nous?
New.
Yeah, it's a new form. So I would just put nous. You don't have to, but I think it just makes it clearer in your head. Me and my family becomes we. Nous visite mon cousin. Okay, so we're going to help the student out with the verb visiter. Visiter we use for places. For people, we don't use visiter. Rendre visite. Good. Nous rendre visite. So I'm going to put nous avons rendu visite. Now, I don't think anybody actually, other than this one student, talked about visiting someone. So this is kind of specific for that student, but it's nice to help them out. So nous avons rendu visite à. Yes, okay, and I underlined it. So if you did want to, then you could use to visit, you know, we visited someone, or, you know, every summer I liked that we used to visit my family in Florida or whatever, then, and you're looking for something else to add in, then feel free to use it. À mon cousin à Mandalay Berman. Okay. So thank you for spending some time going through that with me. Hopefully you find that useful to identify some of those changes that you can make for yourself also. Okay. The next and final thing I want to do is just give you some generic speaking tips, and then the rest of class time is yours to make those editing changes. The next couple of days you're going to be working on your writing and finalizing it all, making your presentations look perfect, look wonderful, practicing it, ready for Thursday. Okay, so speaking tips, this is the rubric. I want you to just bear in mind that you can express yourself with hesitations, but still make your point. Your pronunciation can be understandable despite some errors. You're speaking in strings of sentences most of the time, expressing yourself in different times most of the time. So that's talking about j'habite, j'étais. It has to sound like that to be that time. You can correct yourself to clarify and still get an A+. So if you say something wrong, like, oh, j'habite, that's okay. That's a correction. You clarified yourself and you made it better. That's still an A+. And then addressing the presentation requirements and maintaining the attention. With your Flipgrid, all of you, well, there was only one person and not in your class, that didn't look at the camera. So you all did a good job of looking at the camera, face visible, reading off the slides. There was like a variation, and that's because it's still brand new for you. But by Thursday, you should have been writing it, practicing it more to internalize, not memorize, but internalize the language. So what you're saying doesn't have to be exactly everything that's on your slide. It doesn't have to be exactly everything that you've got written on your poster. What you're saying is kind of like a summary of those things. So don't worry about your beautiful, complex French writing, and then you're not able to deliver on that in your speaking. Just make your speaking as fluent as possible, as like understandable as possible. But you can still look at your slides or look at stuff to kind of refer to. Just think about it as any other project that you do for social studies or anything else, except the difference is you're doing all that in English and you're familiar with English, so you still sound normal. But in French, some of you sound kind of robotic when you're reading, which is normal, but we're not normally robots. So try to internalize like how you're saying it so it comes across as more fluent. No English, nobody did speak any English, just remember to do that. And the imperfect tense, like I was saying, if you're going to use nous, try and get it to sound like nous aimions, nous allions, nous mangions, nous jouions. So just practice some of those endings. I'm going to stay on if you need any more tips on like just how to say stuff, and that could just be coming in for like 5 seconds to ask me or not. If you go to your Flipgrid, I have replied you individually also with some individual speaking tips, but some of it is just more generic. So you can just come and ask me if you have questions. Yeah, I think so. I think with Flipgrid, I don't know whether I tried to just reply. I don't remember whether it sent you an email or how that feedback went back to you. If it didn't get to you in an email, then just go back onto Flipgrid and I posted it I don't think I posted it as a public comment. I think it just sent you an email. So check maybe your junk folder or something. Okay, so yeah, check all my feedback first, and I'm going to stay here in case you have any questions. Tomorrow's lesson, like I said, you're going to have the whole class to work on this, develop your writing, your speaking, perfect it. Wednesday is a 2-hour delay, but again, you've got more time to work on this. And then Thursday, you're going to come into Zoom with me. We're going to kick off the French 2s again, and you're going to come into Zoom with me so you can present your childhoods to me. Ça va? Okay, any questions, stay on. Anything, if you're good, you can au revoir. Merci les filles. Looks like everybody left. Okay. It is awkward. It's like, and I never know how much to like push it or not because I'm like, I don't know whether. Yeah, I have my Flipgrid up, so I'll have a look and see. Oh, you found the email. Yeah, I know. It's hard. I know, it is awful. Oh, I gave feedback to everybody except for Lily. Okay. I guess I didn't get, oh yeah.
Bonjour, pour l'enfance. J'ai le très content et très amusant.